They wanted her to be some anti-establishmentarian, anti-misogynist icon. But when she decides to, in her own preferences, not align with whatever those political objectives are of that group of people, she's all of a sudden persona non grata.
Billie Eilish was reprimanded for dressing too effeminately at the Grammys.
Now, if Billie had been a regular listener to the WMD podcast,
Billie
she would
Eilish
know,
is a recording artist who is a woman.
Yes.
Grammy winning.
She would know, as we have, I wouldn't say admonished, but as we have warned on the podcast many times before, do not negotiate with terrorists. Okay? The reason why you don't negotiate with terrorists is because they will take any sort of negotiation, any sort of compromise as weakness. Now, we're not saying that what Billie Eilish has, the way she's conducted herself in the past, was evidence of her negotiating with terrorists, but we are saying that failing to peer through the bullshit that they spew and seeing it as exactly that bullshit will lead you down a bad path. And here's the example. So, Billie, previously in her career, for other reasons, but as she has stated, genetically speaking, she has been gifted, shall we say. Well endowed in
area. She got them heavies.
Okay. Anyway, let's just, for lack of a better term, you can use your imagination to fill in the blanks. Blanks. Billie Eilish is genetically well endowed with areas that are areas of her frame that are at least
don't say memories. Don't say.
David, will you let me think for 5 seconds?
I'm trying to help you.
That are attractive to the opposite sex.
Heaven forbid.
Okay. And so because of that, she has up till recently dressed herself in super baggy clothes. And she's been on record saying this. The reason why I dress in super baggy clothes is because I want to be recognized for my art and this, that, whatever. I don't want to be objectified and all that kind of stuff. And that's fine, right? Some people dragged her for that or whatever, but her reason for doing it was, listen, I don't want to be just a sex symbol. I don't want to be this way. That's fair.
Despite the fact that she makes songs saying, I'm stealing your man.
Okay. However, recently, she has decided to make a bit of a change in terms of her public image, and she has decided to dress more effeminately. She has decided
aren't selling as much anymore. She's got to put them heavies.
Instead of wearing... Jesus, David. Instead of wearing super baggy clothes, she is now wearing clothes that are more form-fitting, things that accentuate her female figure. All of that kind of stuff. And the people, the very group of people who lauded her previously by saying, good for you for dressing in those baggy clothes. Good for you for hiding your female frame. Good for you for taking a stance against misogyny and all of that kind of stuff. Now she, exercising her my body, my choice autonomy, her right as a woman to decide how she wants to present herself to the public, are now saying, you're a terrible person, you're a sellout, you know, you're trying to use sex appeal to generate money and revenue and interest, you're this, that, and you're whatever, and
you're
blah, blah,
Britney
blah.
Spears, you're Christina Aguilera,
Right.
You're every artist that has ever come before you ever.
Now, to her credit, Eilish has hit back at these critics and said, listen, people change. They decide not every person who dressed in full on everything is black emo in high school is in their 40s working up their way up the corporate ladder, got the heavy eye black and everything else, dressing as emo. People change their styles. People change their preferences. And it's not because they're sellouts. It's for a whole myriad of reasons. Sometimes they just mature and have different tastes and all that kind of stuff. And that's what her point is. And the reason why this tracks back to don't negotiate with terrorists is in the beginning, when Eilish was dressing very tomboyish, baggy clothes, hiding her female figure, all of that kind of stuff, that was everything that the wokies, the leftists wanted her to be. They wanted her to be some anti-establishmentarian, anti-misogynist icon. But when she decides to, in her own preferences, not align with whatever those political objectives are of that group of people, she's all of a sudden persona non grata. And that's why this is in the culture segment, is because as we've pointed out time and time again, sometimes it's in explicit examples and sometimes it's subtle little implicit examples like this. These people cannot tolerate a difference of opinion. Like we talked about in the times of COVID, if you were one person who objected to the prevailing narrative, you were a bad person. It doesn't matter if they had 99% compliance. If you were the 1%, they had to tear you down and destroy you. And so even though Eilish, I'm not saying in the beginning when she was dressing in baggy clothes, she was doing what these people wanted to say. She was doing it for her own reasons. But now she is learning the hard way that these people are terrorists and that they never cared about her as an artist. They never cared about her reasons for why she dressed in baggy clothes. They cared because her actions seemed to align with whatever their prevailing narrative was.
They could probably make a profit off of it.
And now that she's not, she's a terrible person. She's evil. She's a sellout. She's buying into the misogyny. She's all of these other buzzwords that they use. Do not negotiate with these people. They are terrorists. Stand on your own 2 feet and push back against them. To her credit, she is now. But to you, the listeners and viewers of this episode, take this as a lesson to do it the same. Because it's not just against powerful people that control opinion. It's also your own family members, your friends, your coworkers that try to shame you for being different. Be different and be proud of it, especially when it pushes back against everything they hope to control.